Wow, long day. It's not even, half the day's not even over yet. Anyway, we're going to talk about depression. We're going to talk about dealing with it. We're going to talk about feeling good. We're going to talk about dealing with that. But before we start talking about all these things, welcome to the channel, Disruptive Minds. I'm your host, Jerome A. Carter. The A stands for always learning. So, even though every day I wake up with Pam, and the people don't know who Pam is, it's your purpose, your aim, your mission, you're still going to have everyday life events that occur to you. It's just going to happen. If you're living, you're going to have life events that occur, right? So, today, the life event, I'm home. I'm in my van. I'm home. Yesterday was a long day driving from Texas. I'm here, blah, blah, blah. But I wake up, I call my boy, and he had some issues with COVID. So that like put me in some type of other mindset, because me and him are real close. We have the same mindset, and that's what makes us real close, because it's a mindset. It's not just, hey, I know him, he know me. It's a mindset that we're both on the same path, right? So, and I had lost a friend of mine in early January over some stress, and he passed away. He was a good friend. Once again, mindsets. Those people affect you more than somebody you just meet and y'all click. We good. It's just different. It's different, and you understand it when you meet somebody, you really click with them, and you have the same mindset. And when something happens to those type of people, it affects you differently. It's like almost like a love thing. You love people differently, right? So when certain things happen to certain people, you're like, the exact same thing happens to somebody else, and you're like, it affects you differently. Why? It's a love thing. It's a feeling. It's emotions. And I think that's the gist of what I'm trying to get to is emotions. Emotions, they go up and they go down. So today's emotion was that very deep. I woke up, called him. I just woke up. I got in late, so I woke up, called him, checked on him, saw how he was doing, told me he's in the hospital. Things are looking good. But so that put me in like a low mode because I was in the hospital with COVID. So it was like, fuck. Right? So now I'm in this low mode. But later on, I got to see my daughter. I talked to her. Me and her were chilling. I bought her some flowers. We put some fruit. We chilled. So that was a good mood. So what I want to tell you is when it comes to those low modes, when you're feeling deep and down, how I get through those processes from my Pope principles, personally observed, personally experienced, how I get through those processes is I ride them out. I call it riding the wave. I think a lot of people get themselves out of situations too fast before they learn why they're in the situation, right? Like you're digging a hole and somebody comes to get you out the hole. You don't know why you're digging a hole or whatever, and you get back in another hole and another hole and another. You never learn the process. It's a process that you have to learn to get yourself out. And I think we're so quick to rescue people from their process that it actually hurts them. I talked to my godmom. My godmom talks about caterpillars a lot. She likes caterpillars and butterflies, right? And they get into their chrysalis and they come out and they become, butterflies, right? But I researched a little bit about caterpillars, and what I've learned is that when scientists had cut that little cocoon open and released the caterpillar, it didn't develop right. Something was wrong, and after a certain point, that butterfly, once they released the butterfly from the cocoon, it died way shorter than other butterflies. And what they determined is, what they figured out by doing multiple studies on multiple butterflies is when a caterpillar goes into its cocoon and it's in there and it's chilling and it pokes a hole and it pushes itself out, there's a fluid in the head that pushes through the body, through that little hole that the butterfly is coming out of. And if that fluid is not pushed through the body, it doesn't develop the butterfly and it has a happy life and live happily ever after, quote unquote, right? So I believe that's what happens to people when they have these depression moments where they're not learning why are they there, how did they get there, what can they do to prevent themselves from getting there, and then slowly get themselves out. It's a process we have to go through to figure these things out. And any part of that process is interrupted, you're going to repeat it again. Let this train go past. So what human beings typically do is they want to help people out of their process. Hey, what's wrong? Let me help you out. Blah, 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 blah. And it just interrupts that process. And what happens? They end up with the same thing all over again, right? Another train. And what I've done personally is when I am in a process where I'm processing why am I in this place, like today, I had to process. I felt myself going into a low mode. And I was like, why am I getting into this lower mode, this lower vibration, as people would say? It's because I was feeling like that my boy's going through something, right? So I was feeling like somehow I could have prevented that. But then once I'm done processing it and realize there's nothing I could do, all I can do is be there for him, then cool. Same thing with my boy that passed away from the stress of going through the divorce and this, that, and the other. I was there for him. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes just being there for someone, not necessarily pulling them out of it, but just being there for them is something that it helps the process. Because I'm not quick to take somebody out of their process. I don't take nobody out of their process. I just don't. If you come to me and be like, Rome, hey, I got this going on, that going on, I'm going to be like, all right. So how'd you get there? I'm going to start giving you this process. How did you get there? What are you going to do to get yourself out? How are you going to do? I ain't trying to hear all that. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. I'm not a rescue ranger. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a PSY ecologist. I'm not a PSY therapist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not none of those things. But I promise you, you follow this process, you have left dependency on those people. That's a whole other, don't worry, that's a whole other video. I'm going to make a video about that, about these psychologists and therapists and psychotherapists. And there are certain things that I believe people need to go to those people for. And we call it significant events. Like when I was in law enforcement, I did policing for 12 years. You used to have something called significant events. That was something that the lieutenant would type up overnight. Hey, there was a robbery, there's a murder, and all that. To let the next shift know, or let the next captain or whoever know. These are significant events, not just the basic burglary, car breaking intos, or anything like that. No, significant events. Yeah, go see therapy. Yeah, go see psychologists. Yeah, go see psychotherapists. Yes, you have significant events. There are certain things that a lot of y'all are just going through shit, and y'all need to figure it the fuck out. It's just that simple. You need to figure it out. Period. You don't need to go see you don't need coping skills. You need to figure it out. You need to figure out, how did I get here? What am I doing wrong? Why do I keep doing it wrong? Write it down. It's not a lot of stuff is not rocket science. We want to make it more complex because that lets us sit in our little cubby hole where we're like, oh, I'm so depressed. No, you're not depressed. You're just not doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you talk to me, I'm going to make sure you do it. That's one of the reasons why my phone don't ring often. When my phone ring, it's some real. When my phone ring, hey Rome, this is what's going on. It's like it's some big shit. My phone don't ring for he left me or she's doing this and da 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 da. No, my phone ringing is September 11th. Big stuff. You're not going to call me on something small. The first thing I'm going to ask you is, why are you even dealing with that person? Why are you still at that job? Why are you still it's not that simple. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is that simple. Go get you a van. 2012 Dodge Grand Caravan. Go pop the seat in the back. Go to the Walmart parking lot and figure it out. disruptive minds. I'm not going to let you out with just some BS. I'm not going to let you do that to yourself. And you definitely going to do that to me. You are not going to come at me with something that I know you can figure out. You just choose not to because you want sympathy. No. I say all this to say, I'm in a much better mood. Why? Because I rode the wave. I felt it. I sat in that depression. I sat in that sadness. And I was like, okay. And I went through the process. Right? I went through the process. You go through a process. You change that emotion to rationality. I'll teach you how to do that. A lot of times we get so emotional about things, but then you got to wind that down and start rationalizing. Is there anything I could have did to stop my boy from getting COVID? No. Is there anything I could do to help him medically? I'm not a doctor. I don't no, there's nothing I can do. So what can you do, Jerome? What can you do? I can be there for him. I can call and check up on him. Let him know, hey, I'm here, dude. Something go up. You need something, wife, you need something, kids, your mom, hey, give me a call. I'll figure out a way to get it happening. Let me take that part of the stress off you. You be like, hey, Rome, hey, I make a phone call, get some people to move around for me because they know who I am. They'll move around for me because they know if I'm calling them, what? It's something serious. It's not just, and I need y'all to process that. I need y'all to really feel that. A lot of stuff, you don't need coping skills. You need to just sit down and ask yourself, why am I here? How did I get here? Why am I here? What can I do to get myself out? And don't start making no phone calls to nobody. And you need to write things down. Right? You need to write things down. I hope that helped. I hope that helped somebody today. Somebody. I don't know who, but I hope it helped somebody. If it helped you, just say, hey, write in comments. Thank you, Rome. I needed that. And there's a lot more coming.